Needless to say, this is just going to be one heck of a match.
I'm looking very much forward to it. And given the variety of map game type combinations that we have going into the bronze and silver brackets, starting things off, I believe, with Humpback Pump Track Clam Blitz.
Yo, Humpback Pump Track Clam Blitz. We played that on the first round. It's a lot more daunting than it might seem at first glance because there's, even though like the straightforward approach to actually dunking the power clam lies in just kind of like the straight court push. There's also a lot of teams that are taken off guard when one person can just make a very, very sneaky approach to the backside of the base, and they can kind of get like a backwards dunk on the goal. So I'm hoping we're going to be able to see a little bit more of that kind of gameplay here on the first round. Of course, that remains to be seen, but these two teams, of course, having lots of veteran players on each side, I'm sure that we're going to be in for some sneaky surprises and a lot of aggression from both teams as well.
Absolutely. And I feel like Clam Blitz is a very interesting game mode for the sake of the fact that it is very new and how well it can integrate a lot of those older, more traditional tactics.
Yeah.
And I feel like there is a lot of merit to that because you have to take what's already well known, what's well ingrained into the Splatoon metagame, and almost turn it on its head because of the chaotic nature of Clam Blitz.
Of course. Now, you know what? This makes me happy. Just like we just kind of have all these really, really intense battles, but you know, as players are getting themselves situated in their in their stations, rather, everybody's just kind of having fun, just waving out to the crowd. We have some players on what was it? The Frank's Hotdogs that are just kind of, you know, just smiling, being all happy, just.
Despite the level of competition here and how much is on the line for all of these brackets, it's really inspiring actually to see how much fun everyone's able to have, how good of a sense of sportsmanship everyone's able to maintain, and I'm glad that we're at least starting off with a lot more of these more interesting combinations of maps, of game types, so we get to see more of the colorful play styles of players come through, and I think we might even get a chance to see some interesting comps as far as weapons are concerned.
Oh, I'm definitely hoping to see... okay, so one thing I can say right off the bat for Super Thirsty Dads, they do play a lot of aggression. We faced them yesterday, and for a good portion of their the tournament on day one, they actually played a very aggressive 2 to 3 splashdown comp style. I'm not sure if we're going to be seeing any of that this time around, but like needless to say, even if they don't have the splashdown already, they're just all in. They play to their strength for sure. They don't like. I'm not sure if I would say that they have a very consistent neutral game. I'm not sure if they like kind of just hang back. Like for the most part, they just go all in whenever they need to.
We'll at least be able to see how Frank's Hotdogs responds to the aggression of Super Thirsty Dads, as I feel that Humpback Pump Track as a map is very well facilitated to aggressive play styles. There's a lot of small points of cover for players to fall behind, and despite those large points of cover, or the large amount of them, I should say, the center point in general is very large, and there's a lot of avenues to be able to go around it, to traverse through it, and lead off to a lot of potential power clams being thrown through from center if they can position themselves correctly.
Yeah. Another thing to note, too, is that even just like with the collection of power clams, Humpback Pump Track with like the wide open space towards the center with all the cubbies and the trenches, there's going to be a lot of just like with the more aggressive playstyle from coming in from Super Thirsty Dads. I'd like to see how Frank's Hotdogs respond to that. I haven't really seen too much of their gameplay during the tournament, but it'd be interesting to sort of see how they adapt versus that aggression. So definitely a little bit more interesting on both sides.
And as we look a little bit further into this particular set, Humpback Pump Track Clam Blitz is going to be followed up by Tower Control on Kelp Dome.
Ooh,
I feel like that's going to be a very momentum-oriented game. So I feel like the results of this Game 1 is going to be very important to determining how Game 2 is going to roll into us. So we're going to look at the players as we load right into Humpback Pump Track for this Game 1 is going to be Clam Blitz between Frank's Hotdogs and Super Thirsty Dads.
All right, here's what we got. Both teams. Oh, all right. So we got Frank's Hot Dog bringing in a brush. I don't think I've seen that many brushes. But another interesting pick, of course, is we got Ice actually on that roller. I've never actually seen Ice on that roller. Very interesting melee or kind of just frontal assault type weapons. This is going to be difficult, though, for Frank's Hot Dogs. They do open up with 2 players down on their team, but it seems like they're making a little bit of a comeback here. Of course, we're seeing a lot of aggression playing towards their the green side of the court. And, oh, here comes the splashdown, taking down one Cora on Frank's Hot Dogs.
A very inky start, as it were, to this game. Lots of picks happening from left and right, and no real control of the amount of clams on the map. Everything being collected very quickly, but no power clams to be seen. Everything just being these small firefights everywhere. I feel like a lot of the firefights being collected in front of the net is what we could look forward to for the rest of this game.
See, remember how I mentioned earlier that Super Thirsty Dads would actually be packing a 3 splashdown comp. It seems like they brought it in again, further facilitating their very aggressive playstyle. However, 2 members of Super Thirsty Dads does go down. They have the splatter shot and the roller at the ready, trying to back up and see if they can regroup with the rest of the team.
I feel like Splashdown is going to have a lot of merit to this map for many reasons. Between controlling ink on the field, being able to have that panic option for yourself and your teammates, given how close quarters a lot of these firefights are turning out, but also positioning in time to put the power clam very close to the net from a different point of elevation.
Well, with 3 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock, neither team seems to have a slight advantage over the other. Frank's Hot Dogs picking up 15 power clams, trying to see if they can actually make a little bit more of a push. However, 3 members of their team do go down. Super Thirsty Dads actually being able to push up. Their splatter shot, readying with the splashdown, trying to see if they can actually manage a little bit more coordination before they actually make push towards the goal.
You see Aries and Ice trying to put out a lot of ink for their team to be able to press forward. Frank's Hot Dogs responding in turn, but going to see a pick from Aries, setting up the ink rail for Super Thirsty Dads to be able to come in onto the net. Aries opting to throw down their clams to the rest of their team. A very smart move, I feel.
Oh, 2 members of Frank's Hot Dogs going down. Now Super Thirsty Dads actually goes in for the dunk. They break the barrier, and now this is their chance to actually get in more clams.
All right, now what I'm interested in seeing is, are they going to just put all their clams in, or are they going to attempt to hold the point, try to throw them in steadily so that they can keep the net open? It's a tactic that we've seen all throughout the day yesterday, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to maintain it just yet. The shield comes back up, and a power clam is given to Frank's Hot Dogs. This is going to be the opportunity that they need to turn this around if they can maintain control of the stage.
Man, it actually, okay, so it took a while before we actually saw the barrier being broken on either side. There's just so much aggression going on. 2 members of Super Thirsty Dads is up, but the same can be said about Frank's Hot Dogs with 2 members up as well. Slosher Deco with the baller at the ready, trying to see if they can actually make a push with that. However, they're going to try to see if they can maintain a little bit more map control before they actually collect more clams.
I'm starting to see a lot of merit behind the roller that Ice has brought to the field. A lot of the ink that Frank's Hot Dogs sets themselves up with is quickly dissipated by the fact that the roller is coming to cover them, and those trails are very evenly, very easily covered. On top of that, for trying to pick apart through close range, the roller is at its best when its targets are directly in front of it, within that line of sight of just being rolled. So that 2-in-1 stone throw of being able to take away all of that pre-preparation of ink.
Oh my goodness, all the amount of trades that are going on both sides. It might seem like a while before we might be able to see another barrier being broken on either side. However, 2 members of Frank's Hot Dogs go down. Now with Splashdown at the ready for Super Thirsty Dads, they're going to try to see if they can actually regroup together, grab a little bit more ink, or at least maintain the midfield contention that they have. Aris coming in with this with the splashdown. However, he's going to pull back, try to see if he can actually collect if they can collect a little bit more clams, and then maybe try to see if they can actually break the barrier.
Aris doing what they can, set up a lot of the ink ahead of time, trying to also take the rail away from Frank's Hot Dogs. It's appearing that this rail is becoming very important for the sake of maneuvering team strategy along the map. It gives a lot of opportunity to reposition, attack from the highest possible point on Humpback. And Super Thirsty Dads has a lot of focus on consistently keeping all of those avenues open to them, and it's really working out as Ice manages to break the barrier once again.
Oh, not even just breaking the barrier. Ice makes out with a very impressive trade there. being able to actually facilitate his team to push in a little bit easier and try to see if they can get more dunks with the clams in. However, 3 members of Super Thirsty Dads does go down, so that's going to be the end of their session. And now we're being able to be pushed into overtime. It's going to be very difficult. Frank's Hotdogs does get wiped. And now it's going to be Super Thirsty Dads with the advantage, trying to see if they can actually clinch it up by defending that last football there, and that's game. All
right, so very well played on both sides, but Super Thirsty Dads taking their lead as they move forward. And Kelpstone Tower Control is going to be the setting and game mode for Game 2. I feel like how well they organized themselves in controlling specific points, having specific sub-objectives outside of just breaking the barrier, putting the clams in, allowed them to control the map with dominance.
So that first game was a very telltale sign for what's to come. That's so getting a very impressive 20 KA in that first game, followed by Ice as well with 18 kills on that roller. Once again, playing to the strengths of Super Thirsty Dads with the very aggressive playstyle that they have with so many splashdowns. Of course, not to discredit Frank's Hotdogs, of course, either. It seems like they were kind of warming up a little bit more to the aggressive playstyle that Super Thirsty Dads did bring. Now it just remains to be seen how Frank's Hotdogs is going to be able to react in terms of the game that they're going to bring for Tower Control Kelpstone. So maybe they might be able to bring a little bit more ranged into this, just to sort of combat the amount of splashdowns that they're going to bring. However, at the same time, I do think that who knows, for Game 2 here, we might see something other than splashdown, just because the splashdown doesn't really seem to be super useful for pushing the tower. So maybe just to maintain the aggression and try to secure a little bit more kills and have that player advantage, but that remains to be seen.
I feel like we're going to end up seeing the best of both worlds as we move into Kelpstone. It is a map that facilitates a lot of aggressive play because it's a lot more firefight oriented. There's not as much ground available to players to ink, but still a lot of ground that needs to be controlled. The catwalks you can't ink through. A lot of the surfaces have the uninkable tarps over them. It makes things a lot more oriented to having very streamlined ink paths. They're going to go right into it, and we see an immediate point cap for Frank's Hotdogs. They're going to opt to just bring the tower as fast as they can and try and get an immediate lead.
That tower cap was quickly diminished, or extinguished rather, by Super Thirsty Dads. They're going to, Datso right now is just trying to see if he actually manages to get the splat on the sniper. That's going to be very interesting for Super Thirsty Dads, trying to see if they can get that mid control before they jump on the tower.
It looks like Super Thirsty Dads has brought 2 splatter shots to this.
Once again, the triple splashdown comp. Here we go.
I mean, on this map in particular, I feel like splashdown does have a lot of value just because the jump can bring you through the catwalks.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They did manage to get the quick lead there. However, sitting at 84 points, it's not exactly the greatest push that they're going to look for. So, of course, with the 4 minutes left in the game, there's going to be a lot more aggressive playstyle, maybe a lot more back and forth that we've seen earlier from the game 1. And, yeah, then, oh, whoa, okay, well, we got Frank's Hotdogs that just got wiped there. So that's going to be a very, very interesting push coming in for Super Thirsty Dads.
A complete wipe is going to allow Super Thirsty Dads to take the point, take the lead. They're going to be moving into this back line. This set of points that you get between these 2 checkpoints is so pivotal to being able to hold your lead because it's such a safe area to control with your ink. It's a lot of areas of cover. It's a very good place to fall back on. Ares diving deep into enemy territory, trying to pressure out the team, and it's working really well in favor of Super Thirsty Dads. It's going to put enough pressure on them to move the point directly onto the cap.
Wow. All right. You know what? I have to hand it to Eris there. He was able to flank in from the left side of the map, being able to claim a lot of aggression, just making sure that none of the other Inklings on Frank's Hotdogs were able to try to see if they could defend versus the tower. That one area just right in front of the base seems to be a very, very pivotal fighting area just to sort of make sure that they could defend against the tower push. However, with that much aggression, it's going to be very, very difficult. I think Frank's Hotdogs really have to redouble their efforts and try to see how they can combat this triple splashdown comp that they have, which is, I thought wouldn't really work super well on tower control for Kelpstone, but for whatever reason, it seems like they really made it work with just the amount of aggression that they pushed in with.
I feel like it was a bit of a gamble on Super Thirsty Dad's part because they pushed very far ahead, and that type of overextension can truly be a bane to a lot of organized play. Just because if you throw yourself that far ahead, you're almost destined to get inked. But they had very well organized pushes deep ahead of the point, leaving someone behind to be able to control the point, move it forward, ink for them, so they had somewhere to fall back on. And it did allow them to take it Game 2 in very convincing fashion. I feel like that aggressive play is going to persist even further as we move into Game 3, which is Rainmaker on Mako Mart.
Okay, Rainmaker Mako Mart is going to be really, really, really rough. Because if Frank's Hotdogs doesn't have an answer to that amount of aggression that they have, especially with the amount of splashdowns that they're carrying, yeah, that's going to be really troublesome. I thought it wouldn't be as effective in Tower Control Kelpdom. However, with the Rainmaker Mako Mart, it's just going to be a lot more of a thing to deal with at this point. The amount of splashdowns that they can actually pack will be super useful in being able to just quickly pop that bubble and just run right in. And especially with the rest of the teammates being able to coordinate so well their aggression, just kind of like a swarm of bees, if you will. They just kind of I imagine they're going to pour right in, try to see if they can get a quick clear on Frank's hot dog, and then just go immediately for that dunk.
I know we keep on forcing this point about the aggressive play of Super Thirsty Dads, but I really feel like it is worth highlighting because it's been dictating the momentum of this set for its entirety, and I feel that it's very much worth noting that it's going to be pivotal to them being able to control how the Rainmaker is going to move, how it's going to be fought for. The initial push is going to lead to a wipe on Frank's Hotdogs side.
Well, they're definitely playing to their true namesake right here. Super Thirsty Dads are not just thirsty, they're super thirsty. Ice being able to claim a very impressive kill on the first round of the map. And Frank's Hotdogs right now getting wiped. Here we go. With a bomb rush in hand, Dadlord is probably going to try to see if he can actually claim the Rainmaker. However, he does... Oh, never mind. Datso actually claims it. But, of course, Dadlord doing a fantastic job with that bomb rush, being able to clear the rest of Frank's Hotdogs as they push right in. 3 members of Frank's Hotdogs go down. Super Thirsty Dads inbound with the Rainmaker, trying to make a push towards the pedestal. And that's the game.
Push after push, wipe after wipe. Super Thirsty Dads having a dominant performance into that Game 3, leaving us with a 30 and a handshake in favor of the Super Thirsty Dads.
Wow. All right. Yeah, it seems like Frank's Hotdogs did not have an answer to the aggressive playstyle, but you know what? Kudos to them. They actually did try their best. But this is going to be the thing to look out for the rest of the tournament. If